All right, we're going to have a video for your fourth worksheet. 8.6 number 1, it is labeled correct, rational equations. It's in your notes, pages 27 to 29. Example 1 on your worksheet looks a lot like problem 5. And in problem 5, that's supposed to be a 0, actually. Okay, looked really bad. The first thing we have to do is find our domain. Our denominator can't be 0. I found my common denominator of 4. Textbooks will tell you you have to multiply both sides by 4. But what are we going to do? We're going to play what's missing. What does x need? 4. What does 2x need? 2. What does 4 need? X. But by doing this, we've already removed these denominators when we do what's missing. And so all we have left is 5 times 4 is 20, negative 1 times 2 is negative 2, and 3 times x is 3x. And I solve and get x equals 8. And I noticed that the only thing x could not be was 0. So x equals 6 is our solution. Problem 2 on your worksheet is very similar to problem 1. Most books teach you to cross multiply. That's actually okay for this one, but I always like to say what's the common denominator. Notice I can't have 0 or 4 because those make the terms equal to 0, and you cannot have a denominator of 0. Books will tell you to show that multiply and play what's missing. But we laugh at that because we know x minus 4 needs the 2x, 2x needs the x minus 4, and when you play what's missing, you have removed that denominator already. And so I multiply the resulting equation. I get negative 20. Negative 20 is not either of these. So that's the correct solution. Now, another example, this is example 2, will be like your homework 3. Another one where it would have been legal to cross multiply because they don't share anything. Note I can't have a 4 or a 0. My LCM, or lowest common denominator, is x times x minus 4. Books tell you to multiply both sides. We're going to play what's missing. X minus 4 needs x needs x minus 4, and that wipes out the denominator. I distribute, and I get no solution because 0 can't be 12. Now we're going to go to this next problem, which is very much like problem 4. Number 3, again, they're my denominators. My domain says I can't be 3 or negative 3, since that makes the denominator 0. Books tell you you must multiply both sides, but we're going to say what's missing. X minus 3 needs x plus 3. X plus 3 needs x minus 3. So the denominator's gone. I distribute. Since this is an easy one, I just have to say negative 1 and 3 give me 2, and negative 3 and negative 3 give me negative 6. The x squareds cancel. I solve and reduce. X equals 3/2, which is not my plus or minus 3, so I'm happy. All right, now we're going to come to the one that if you cross multiply, you're a turkey. So I look at this particular problem, and the first thing I have to do is factor the denominator. And these are teacher-made problems, so notice these two share something, factor in common. Notice my domain says I can't be negative 4 or negative 1 since it makes the denominator 0. Notice your teacher is going to go straight into what's missing. Books tell you to multiply. I think this is the last one where I actually show that. And so x plus 4 needs x plus 1, and this denominator just needs times 1. So notice if I just play what's missing, I'm going to distribute, solve, and I get 1. 1 is not up here, so 1 is my solution. But what if I'm a turkey? and I cross multiply. Look at this mess. So I've got to distribute the 2, I've got to distribute the x plus 4, I've got to combine terms on both sides, and I'm going to get x equals -4 and x equals 1. So you see all that extra work? But now we have an extraneous answer because x can't be -4. And look, it pops up if I just cross multiplied. So, moral of the story, play what's missing, and you're going to avoid those crazy extraneous answers, and you'll only get answers that you occasionally, this answer will be no solution, but here this is a built-in no solution, so be careful. Our tour into the dining room now. Yes, here we come. And so, here's a lovely problem. Number 6 is like problem 10. Notice we're going to have to negate the top, so I put plus the opposite. Notice I factored it. Again, notice that factor, teacher-made problem, is the combination of the 2 denominators. And notice I'm going to tell you what the lowest common multiple is. That's the lowest common denominator, but I'm not going to show the multiply work now. We're just going to play what's missing. What does x plus 2 need? X minus 3. What does x minus 3 need? X plus 2, and what does this denominator need? 1. And so when I do that, I have said that I've already multiplied and canceled, and so I have to do all that distributing and combining, and be careful so you aren't a turkey and make mistakes. And notice that my solution is 2 and my solution is 3. But I can't have the 3. So even though we did everything well here, we end up with one of the solutions extraneous like we have in so many problems this year. So our only solution is x equals 2. Now for problem 7 on your worksheet, I'm going to show 2 examples out of your notes, examples 7 and 8, because it's a little bit of both. So for this one, just like the other one, I have to add the opposite. I have to factor. That is my lowest common denominator. I can't have -4 and -1. So I'm going to play what's missing. X plus 4 needs x plus 1. X plus 1 needs x plus 4. And the combo denominator just needs 1. When I've actually multiplied, what I've done, playing what's missing, is canceled the denominator and shown what's left. I go ahead and distribute and solve my equation. I get 6. 6 is not restricted, so my solution is 6. Now the other take on example problem 7 is this one, to where yes, you still have to add the opposite, but notice my x squared's negative, so I have to negate the bottom, positive x squared, positive x, -2, and negate the top, -3. This denominator is still my least common multiple, my lowest common denominator. -2 and 1 are not allowed in the domain. So I'm going to play what's missing. What does x plus 2 need? X minus 1. X minus 1 needs x plus 2. And the combo denominator just needs 1. Technically, because I have multiplied, and what's missing just shows you what's left after you reduce. I go ahead, I multiply it out, I solve the equation, I get x equals 1. But oh no, we're not allowed 1, so our answer is no solution. All that turkey work and no solution. What a pain in the butt. Well, come to the next question. It's equally as evil. The last question on this worksheet is like problem 12. Notice in this one, there's no fixer-uppers. I'm ready to play the game. I go ahead and factor. It will be a combination of these 2. I can't have, what numbers? 1/2 and -1. My lowest common denominator is the one over there. I'm going to play what's missing. X plus 1 needs 2x minus 1. 2x minus 1 needs x plus 1. This turkey just needs 1, and technically You have multiplied, you have reduced, and this is what's left. So I have to do all that work carefully on the left, and look, the left side, all of this stuff cancels except for the 4 and the 2, and I get a 6x squared, and there's the right side. Negating the right side, getting it onto the left, I then factor out the 3. If I notice that that's my original denominator, and that's all I have with the factors, then I know, oh no, if I were to factor that, I get no solution. What if I didn't notice that? Then I know most of you would use grouping, but remember this is a cute little one, so it's either 2 and 1, x and 1, and you have to just decide where to put the plus and minus. I get both of those answers, and I go, oh no, I can't have them. And so my answer is no solution.